Hello, my name is Sheila and I would like to welcome you to my podcast All About You. I love to listen to podcasts and especially conversations with famous people. However, I think everyone has a story to tell. Maybe a place you have visited, a hobby you enjoy, or anything that you feel would be of interest. I want to have conversations with lots of different people and hear their stories. So if you have a story to tell, please contact me on my email allaboutyoupodcast@yahoo.com. Welcome to the All About You podcast. And my guest this afternoon is Jerome, and we're going to talk about his life. Okay, we've got a lot of stories here, Jerome, so welcome to the All About You podcast.
Thanks a lot, thank you.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Jeroen Van Zanten. I'm a mindset coach for the LGBT community. And I actually just moved to Valencia a week ago, but I lived there before and I just wanted to get back because I love the city so much. So yeah, I'm here like as an online coach, and that's what I do.
You have written an ebook
Yeah.
which you very kindly let me read.
Yeah.
And I was blown away by your story.
Yes.
So I think we need to go back a few years and start at the beginning of your journey.
Yeah. If we start really at the beginning of my journey, that's also where I start with my book. Is right there that night in Madrid when I was not really in a good place. If you want to know about it, let's say read my ebook. It's going to be on Amazon. It was just, let's say, at my rock bottom. You know, I was in a very bad place. I've been partying and drinking and using a lot of drugs for a long time. Just really a party lifestyle. And at some point, I was like, this is not what I want to be. What is my purpose? I was turning 31 that night, and I was like, where is my life heading? So that was really my turning point. Yeah.
In the ebook, you are
Yeah.
saying that you weren't really sure who you were. You weren't comfortable with this sort of partying lifestyle you had, but you didn't really know where you fitted in.
Yeah, I wasn't really conscious about it. It was only when I stopped drinking later that I discovered that like my sexuality was actually holding me back. You know, I was always thinking like when I'm coming out of the closet, it's fine, and coming out of the closet for me was not that bad, to be honest. But it's way more than that, and yeah, I really discovered that I was just playing a role for much time, and I really discovered that at that time. So back then I was like, who am I really? What are my values, and what do I want to bring into this world? So I really see that as a reset, you know, as a starting point for my new life. Yeah.
So in the book, you're talking about you took the decision to stop drinking.
Yeah. Best decision ever.
Okay, so when you say you were drinking,
Yeah.
was it social drinking? You were out partying every night, or was it more than that?
No, that's the funny thing, you know. Actually, when you're a student, it's very common. You know, I studied journalism. We had a pub at the faculty, and for a long time, people didn't really notice it because when you're a student, you're gonna party a lot, and that's what I did. And it was mostly in the weekends, but also sometimes in the weekdays. But it's not like the typical story with the drinking problem. Like I could probably hide it, and also I realized it only maybe a year before I really stopped drinking. Finally, that I was like, oof, this is bad. But because I have the example of my brother, he was addicted to cocaine and alcohol, so I always had this bad example. Not to be rude about it, but like you don't want to get there, you know. So I was literally looking into, how you say, into the mess.
Yeah.
And I could still push the stop button. Yeah.
And what about your relationship to your family at this point? So you said that your brother was into cocaine, so we're talking about hard drugs. Were your family aware of you and your brother using?
Of course, yeah. My brother, he went to rehab a couple of times, and that was a really big thing on my family. But because of it, I could be in the shadows and have my party lifestyle, and nobody really knew.
Right, so in a way you could hide behind that because there was all this going on with your brother.
Definitely.
So, the spotlight wasn't on you at all.
Yeah.
Wow, so your family must have gone through it a bit with
yeah, it was quite a bit of a shock, but yeah, of course it was hard for me, but for now I really see my sobriety as my superpower. And I gained so much back. My life is so much better. I'll be sober 2 years and 2 weeks, I think. Yeah, so my life has never been better than at this point, and I'm very excited for everything that's.
One of the things you did when you decided to give up drinking is you started an Instagram account about your sobriety.
Yeah.
And in the book, that just blew up, and you didn't expect that at all.
No.
So what happened?
Well, I was already following some people on Instagram, and some people had like this sober account, so they have like some kind of diary about their sobriety. Yeah, at some point, I studied journalism. I like to create stuff. I like to write and stuff. But back then, I was so insecure and so kind of lost also with my purpose and my talents that for me it was a really big thing to go out, write again and publish again. So at that point, for me, opening that account and also being very vulnerable, but that's also a thing that I think I write as well in the book, being vulnerable, being open, talking about this kind of stuff is where I come from, a very small village where people, especially men, don't really talk about their feelings. So for me, it was a big thing to do that. And since I've opened that account and it went pretty well, it's kind of is my mark to be open, to be vulnerable.
Because that's the interesting thing, having an Instagram account, you are putting yourself out there to be judged.
Could be, yeah.
You're putting yourself out there for hopefully people to encourage you and put good comments.
Yeah.
But you are laying yourself out there on Instagram.
It's the opposite of the AA, it's anonymous alcoholics, I guess. Yeah. I never really went there. I did a meeting once and it wasn't really for me because I don't think you should be ashamed of your story. I don't think you should be ashamed of who you are. It's a disease at the end. It's the drug, not the person, I always say. So I felt that I really had to do it, also maybe even a little bit in like an activist way to show the world that addiction is not some kind of weird thing that brands a mark on you for all of your life. It's actually the start of something much greater than that, and that's why I opened that account. Yeah.
One thing you just said there, it's a drug, not the person.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That is huge.
Yeah.
That is amazing because when you look at alcohol, when you look at drugs, it's them. No, that's not the person, is it? The person gets involved with those.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
The way you say that.
Yeah, and it's funny because alcohol, I think I like this quote, alcohol is the only drug you have to justify not taking, and that's still also a thing in our society, but that's a different thing, that you still sometimes have to say, I don't drink, and then you have to explain yourself, which is, if you think about it, a really strange thing. Because it's a drug in the end.
Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah. That is a big one. Yeah, a really big one. So you started the Instagram sobriety account.
Yeah.
And then you've gone in the book Judge Judy. Now, for people that are not aware of Judge Judy, it's basically a TV program.
I didn't know, actually.
Well, you didn't know that? Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it's a real TV program, and she's a real judge, and she judges real cases on TV.
Yeah.
It's in the States, and I think we've got it on UK TV.
Yeah.
So you literally picked Judge Judy to be your accountability person.
Not really accountability person. It's more like my inner critic, which I call her, and it's not really a good thing because I know we should make. I think we should make decisions on, which I call more. I do it now more in intuition, and you can call it your higher self, your the real you. It's a bit spiritual as well. So I believe deep down you already know what you want and how to make the decisions. But whereas because of our conditioning of the past, or subconscious, is likely to be negative because that's how we're programmed, and it's also, if we go a little bit deeper, it's how we lived way back in tribes, it was normal to look out for the danger, to not go out of your comfort zone, but it's actually for growth, and which is also a really big part of my coaching, is get out of the comfort zone and actually grow from there, because nobody grows in comfort zones.
So Judge Judy then was like your inner voice.
Critical inner voice, yeah.
Yeah, and we've all got a critical inner voice.
Definitely.
And I love the way you've named yours. I think that is brilliant, because we've all got that inner critic that's saying, not good enough, you're no good at doing this, you're no good at doing sport. If we can name that, the voice as such, that's a really good idea.
Because it makes it also not you, and that's makes it powerful. You can look at it separately, so it makes it a little bit more distant. It can help you to come down to the real you, and maybe put the critical you a little bit more far away. Yeah.
But that is so interesting, though, naming your inner voice. So every time that inner voice pops up, you can slap it back down and say, I'm not listening to you today, or go away, or shout, swear, and whatever you want to do, but just knock back that voice.
But it's normal, because like I said, it's conditioning, so we all have it. So it's also good to actually acknowledge it, to know that it's there, but not to involve it.
And I think as well, that inner critic can be right back to when we were at school. We were told we were no good at sport, no good at art, and maybe in the workplace, or you're no good with technology. And we, for whatever reason, believe that. And maybe as an adult, we still, no, I can't draw, I'm no good at sport. Well, you may not have been any good at that particular art topic, but something else, you'd probably find and would enjoy it. But it's that voice. And we carry that voice for decades.
I see that a lot of times with my clients as well, when they feel like they cannot do something, or they feel like a negative thing around themselves. When I dive deeper, it's mostly from 20 years ago, and somebody said it to her or he. When you uncover those limiting beliefs, which mostly related to those critical thoughts, then you actually can free yourself from it.
You are getting your life together. You've become a coach, and you're coaching all different types of people with all different types of problems.
In the beginning,
Okay, so you're talking about helping people with their values and build their confidence. How do you go about building someone's confidence?
It's one thing I already mentioned. First, you have to define confidence. I think that's really important. And for a lot of people, I think that confidence was, before they start to work at themselves, is not what other people think of them, but what you think other people think of you. And that's always a lie. So if your confidence is based on what other people think, what you think other people think of you, you're always going to be insecure, because you don't know what they think. So first, you have to know.
I'm nodding.
Yeah. First, you have to know your values, who you are, and when those values are strong, if you know what you stand for, if you know what you want, then nobody can really come to you. For me, that's confidence.
I heard a really good quote the other day. It said, what somebody else thinks of you is none of your business.
Exactly. Love that.
I mean, that is just brilliant.
Definitely.
I mean, we have got our own idea of who we think we are as a person. We think we're a good person, an honest person. What other people think of us is really nothing to do with us.
No.
But just that sentence alone is so powerful.
It's powerful, and very difficult at the same time, I guess, of course, because we all struggle from what other people think of us. I guess it's like it's easy to say not care about what other people think of us, but we always do at some point. But it's very good to be aware of it, and the more you own yourself.
I mean, I remember years and years and years ago, I used to teach aerobics. And I remember having a conversation with somebody in the class, and she was saying, oh, I'm really worried, I don't think I can continue with the classes because I'm always going right and they're going left and they're going forward, I'm going back. I said, don't worry. I said, the thing is, everybody is more worried about what they are doing than what you're doing.
Yeah.
Probably no one's even noticing.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, isn't it?
That's
we
the thing.
think
everybody's
looking at us, but no, they're worried about what they're doing.
Exactly. Like that's the first book I read when I got sober was The Unexpected Joy of Being Sober, and I remember it's kind of like this when you're in a club. And it's about being worried that people will judge you because you're not drinking and you're in a club, so you're going to be super nervous, super insecure, probably. And she says the same, that like people are too busy with themselves because they're maybe also scared of being judged. So they're definitely not looking at you, but we're all then a little bit in this crazy mind of ours, thinking about getting judged. Yeah, exactly.
But I think once we can understand that, nobody's worrying about what I'm doing because they're worrying about themselves.
Yeah.
That takes so much pressure off.
Yeah, definitely. If
You
we all
gotta
can do
think-
that, we'll all be free. Yeah.
You just got to think, as long as I'm happy with what I'm doing, that's all that matters.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's getting to the point of, maybe for some people, the first time hearing that statement. I know when I heard it, I was like, oh my God, why didn't somebody tell me that years ago?
I know, yeah, all those things, with personal growth and coaching, I think, and mindfulness as well, meditation, why don't we learn it at school?
Yeah.
Like, it could be so useful.
A lot of what we're saying is not rocket science, but it feels like the biggest piece of information we've ever come across.
Yeah,
because it makes so much sense.
Yeah. I was thinking about that the other day, and I think it's, of course, because of society and social media and everything, that actually going back to the basics now is like a very special thing. But like meditation, like being in the moment, living in the now, I think as kids when we play on the countryside, so we played in the woods and stuff like that, you be in the moment. And now we're trying to learn that again, and to us 30 years later. Yeah.
Exactly. So as educated adults, we've got to be more childlike and look at everything as if we're seeing it for the first time, as children do. They get given a box and, wow, what can they do with this box?
Yeah, definitely.
And we've lost that art of being in the moment.
Yeah, because we're on our phones all the time, and me too, it's my work as well. I do a lot of my work also on my phone. So, but yeah, especially here in this beautiful city that we're in, there's so much to see. And if you're just in the moment and you see all the things around you, it's beautiful. Yeah.
So one thing I wanted to touch on from your book, you're talking about a fixed and a growth mindset. So if you can just explain what that means.
Yeah, I think I had a fixed mindset for a long time until I started to work on myself. And that's also maybe a little bit of how I grew up, that you're either talented or you're not. So that's the fixed mindset. So when you believe that you were born and you're learning some things, but you're already set for your life, already set for the skill set that you have. And so it's really based on not having things as well. So you're jealous more than you want to see people win. And then we go to the growth mindset, is that you actually think that today is a great day for me to learn new stuff, to become a better person. And you see another coach as an inspiration, for example. Yeah, I think that's mainly what the difference is between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. Basically, just being open and being playful and learnful, and seeing critic and seeing making mistakes as learning and not as failing. I think that's the big difference between it. Yeah.
I think that's interesting what you say, as in not being afraid to make mistakes.
Definitely.
Particularly as a grown-up adult, this is where we differ from children. If you think of a child learning to walk, it's going to try and stand up, fall over, fall over. And it does this hundreds and hundreds of times. And we think that's fine. However, as an adult, we expect to pick up everything very, very quickly, whether it's technology, whether it's a language, whether it's a sport. We expect, we're grown-ups, we're educated, we should be able to do this in 2 or 3 attempts. Absolute rubbish.
It's bullshit, yeah.
It is
literally
bullshit.
I was thinking about it because I was talking a little bit, the inner critic was a bit with me coming to you for this podcast. And it's, of course, I talked before, but not really about about the book and everything. So it's the first time, a little bit of a first time for this. And then I was like, it's just the same as biking and walking. You're just gonna have a lovely conversation. That's it. But you have to remind yourself.
I think we lose the art as we get older.
Mm-hmm.
Children are inquisitive
Yeah.
about everything,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all the senses. They want to put it in their mouth,
Yeah.
they want to throw it, they want to touch it, they
Yeah.
want to eat it, smell it. We sort of lose that to a certain point of view,
Yeah.
and we're not very good at letting ourselves be students and beginners.
No, because we're afraid to be judged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the fear of failing,
Mm-hmm.
it's the fear of making a mistake,
Yeah.
the fear of being judged, even by ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, we are our harshest critic.
Definitely. Yeah.
And we talk to ourselves in a way that we wouldn't dream of talking to another person.
No.
Say, how can you be so stupid, you messed up, or you'll never learn how to do this, or what's wrong with you.
Yeah.
We would never talk to anybody else using that vocabulary.
No, I always say that as well to my clients. Like your self-talk determines your future. So it's
That's another gem. That's another one.
Yeah. So it is. I always say talk to yourself as a friend, as your best friend. You know, because we're made to be, conditioned to be so critical to ourselves that holding ourselves back for a lot of things. If we keep like that, keep doing judge Judy all the time. Yeah.
But that is the opposite end of the spectrum, isn't it? We are our biggest critic, and we're beating ourselves up over X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
Instead of being our biggest cheerleader.
Indeed.
And words of encouragement. Come on, you can do this. Why do you expect to get it right the first time?
Yeah.
Be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
We don't go there. We're right up the other end. How stupid, you're never going to learn this. And
Yeah. Without failing, you never win. So, and like we talk about it, it's very common, but for somehow our society is made, it's like you're already, how do I say that? Like failure is a bad thing at school. When you're a kid, people already start to looking at the things you're not good at instead of the things you're good at. If you focus on the things that you're good at, you will grow more. And of course, you can make mistakes. That's just normal. Yeah.
I think there's so many pearls of wisdom that you are coming out with here.
Thank you.
When I do the editing, I'm going to write these down and stick them on my wall.
Yeah.
Because this is so true.
Yeah.
Instead of listening to your inner critic, have a name for that inner critic, but also have a name for that other person who is encouraging, who is gentle,
Definitely.
who is motivating.
Yeah.
So we really need to have sort of two different people, a cheerleader who is going to motivate and encourage, and somebody else that we can smack down and say, actually, no, I've got no time for you today.
Definitely.
Because I'm listening to my cheerleader.
Yeah, we should all cheerlead ourselves. You should all be your own coach, because it will bring you much further than staying in the negative. And it's very addictive, negativity, it also bonds people together, and it doesn't get you anywhere.
If we can just finish by going over your story briefly, I mean, you were in a very dark place with the alcohol.
Yeah.
You got yourself out of that situation.
Yeah.
You've cleaned up your life. You're in a better place.
Yeah.
You've trained as a coach.
Yeah.
And you're working with different people in the lesbian, gay, trans community, as well as everybody else. Where do you feel you are now, and where are you planning to go in the future? I mean, you're in the middle of doing your book.
Yeah, I really feel still at the kind of the starting point. Of course, I'm already coaching people for this year already, but it's really taking off to the next stage, and that's also here in Valencia. For me, it's a new level. So I think it's going to be great. I would like to also talk in the future, maybe a little bit about the story, about my sobriety, but also about the mindset stuff. So I see a lot of great things happening in the future. But for now, I just also, let's say, want to stay here for a year. Like the first time I was here, I was still in the party life, and it was just one big escape, you know. And I'm such a different guy, such a different person now that I want to enjoy the new me here in Valencia, also at the fullest. So yeah.
So are you making peace with the new you?
Definitely, yeah. But also with the old me, because if the old me wasn't there, I wasn't now talking to you about all the stuff I learned during pain and addiction and everything. So I'm also kind of grateful for that. Yeah.
Wow, I think that's an amazing story. I wish you all the luck in the world with your coaching practice.
Thanks a lot.
The book, the bits that I have read are absolutely amazing, and the honesty in the book, I think, is the thing that really struck me.
Yeah.
You have been totally honest. It's not an easy read at the beginning.
No.
You've been on a bit of a journey, shall we say.
Yeah, definitely.
I wish you all luck in the future, and thank you so much for being a guest on the All About You podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
And good luck for the future.
Thank you.
I hope you have enjoyed the conversation. Don't forget, if you have a story you would like to tell, please get in touch. My email address is allaboutyoupodcast@yahoo.com, and thank you for listening.